welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And I need to figure out what's up with Kyrie Irving and this toxic relationship he has with the Boston Celtics fan. And I'm sure everybody probably watched game one of the playoffs this year, and there was a lot of back and forth between Kyrie Irving and the fans. He ended up getting fined because he was flipping him the bird. Um, you know, they were trolling him the whole game, yelling Kyrie sucks. And it seemed like they was uh, throwing some fuel on the fire because Kyrie was torching them, to be honest with you. I mean, if we really being realistic, they might have lit a fire in Kyrie's belly, and he was showing them what's up, man. He was getting major buckets, and if it wasn't for the Celtics double teaming him at the end of the game, he probably would have beat them in game one. Kevin Durant was playing horrible, but Kyrie Irving did not disappoint. He came to play. He was pretty much unstoppable. And tonight, I can't wait to see if he carries it in the game too. But the thing that is confusing to me is why there's this even weird dynamic between him and the fans to begin with. Because he only played 2 seasons for Boston. And they feel, or they're behaving in a way that makes me feel like they're extremely hurt that he decided to leave the Celtics organization and move on to Brooklyn. And at this point, he's been in Brooklyn longer than he was in Boston, and they just can't seem to let it go. It's just always constant chirping. But the weird thing about it is, like, you can even find like pictures of this on the internet. It'd be fans holding up signs that says Kyrie Irving sucks while they're wearing like Kyrie Irving jerseys and Kyrie Irving t-shirts. And I know there's a whole list, like a laundry list of all-time great players that played for the Celtics. So I get that they're used to when they get these certain guys usually bring them championships. You know, the last several stars that they've had, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, they brought them a championship. Then, the group before that with Bird and Parrish and McHale, and then, even further back with Bill Russell and all of those boys, Havlicek and everybody else. So I understand that they're used to winning championships when they have elite level players. And Kyrie might be the only one that's ever let Boston down in that regard. But he just really wasn't there long enough. So I really don't understand what the attachment is with him and that organization. It just kind of seems like they should have moved on by now, but for whatever reason they haven't. And it ended up costing Kyrie a little money because he's hitting shots, he's running down the court flipping the bird, then he's standing on the sidelines, he's flipping the bird behind his head to the fans. And whenever they're asking him about it in the press conference, he's just saying like, it's only so much I can take as a competitor. And but he keeps claiming it's not hostile, which I believe in. Like, I don't necessarily think it's hostile. Like, I think what he was doing, it's entertaining to a certain degree. Like, you going back and forth with the fans, I think a lot of fans love that. Like, me personally, if I was sitting courtside at a UK versus Louisville basketball game, right? Obviously, I hate Louisville. So if I was able to get a player's attention and he interacted with me, I would enjoy that, actually. Especially if we won, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Joakim Noah, right? When he played at Florida actually was better than Kentucky. And he used to always do his little gator chomp, and I used to couldn't stand him for that. But it was just all in fun, right? It's not personal. He's just trolling Kentucky fans. Like, he's standing up doing his chomp or whatever, and fans are booing him. Fans are constantly yelling, he sucks and whatever. And I think that's just a part of the nature of the game. And I don't think it's really harmful either way. Now, when Kyrie was walking into the locker room and one of the fans said something to him and he turned around and told him, suck my, you know what, that might be going a little too far, right? But that also wasn't, while the game was being played, that was off the court. So at that point, I don't know. Maybe you don't hold Kyrie responsible for that because at that point the game is over. He's done his job. He's no longer entertaining the fans, right? He's in his personal space at that point, right? And I do think that the athletes need to be protected from that type of stuff after the game is over. But while the game is going on, I don't see a problem with it as long as it's not personal, right? Like, for instance, whenever LeBron James had to have a fan removed, the rumor was, one of the fans had said something like he hopes Bronny dies in a car accident. That's taking it too far, in my opinion, right? Like, don't bring somebody's family member into it. Don't talk about somebody's wife or somebody's children. Like, just talk about, things that pertain to the sport, right? So, talk about LeBron James, if he missed some free throws or if he have a costly turnover or if he's getting cooked on defense, keep it within the realms of the sport. And I'm fine with it. And Kyrie Irving, flipping a little bird here or there, that's not really a big deal to me. I think it's fun to troll the fans. If I actually was good enough to be a professional athlete, I would probably play back and forth with the fans a lot because, you're still creating a very memorable situation for most fans, right? Like all of those fans, they might hate Kyrie Irving's guts, but they're going to go home and talk about that to their family and they're going to tell the stories to their kids and their grandkids. Like, yeah, I was at the game and, me and they're going to hype it up and even over exaggerate it. They're going to be like, yeah, and I was saying this to Kyrie and he did this to me. And they're going to make it seem like it was really personal between them two, even when it's not. Neither one of these people know each other. They probably, Kyrie probably wouldn't recognize any of these people if he walked right past them in the street. And I think it kind of sucks that he had to get fined for it. And I'm really interested to see what happens tonight, right? In game number 2. Is he going to just ignore it? Is he going to just say, the hell with it and, take another fine? And unfortunately, I think he's probably going to just have to ignore it because at the end of the day, you don't want to just keep throwing away money, right? One time it might be worth it, just to send a little message. Like, I hear y'all, I'm about to torch y'all, and y'all gonna have to take this L. Even though he didn't end up getting the W, he took the L. But unfortunately, he's gonna have to be quiet tonight. And we'll see. Kyrie Irving has a lot of money, and he probably would be okay losing a little bit here and there. It's probably not gonna hurt him, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he's probably got his limits too on how much of his money he's willing to waste going back and forth with some fans. But me personally, man, I love the back and forth. I think it's always been a part of sports, right? And not to go left, but a little while back, Naomi Osaka had a situation where she was getting trolled by a female fan, was yelling that she sucked. And it was really annoying her to the point where she wanted to take the microphone and address the fans. And I think sometimes, man, you just got to embrace it and have fun with it. You could be the greatest person on the face of the earth, but if you a rival opponent, they just not going to like you. I have no personal, hatred or any negative feelings towards any athlete that's ever played for Louisville, right? But just me being a Kentucky guy, I have to go against them, right? Like, I can't really necessarily be supportive of them, especially not while they're at Louisville. Like, now, maybe once they move on or whatever, it's not really that serious. But when you're an opposing athlete, the you know the rival fans or whatever the case may be, they're not gonna like you and they're gonna troll you, man. And I think you should just embrace it, man. I think you should have fun with them, tease them back, especially if you a high caliber athlete, because most high caliber athletes can live up to that. Like Naomi Osaka is good enough to just bust somebody's ass and turn around to the heckler and be like, "Who sucks?" Kyrie Irving is that good. Boston Celtics fans can say whatever they want, but they can't take away from the fact that he's probably at least one of the top 3 best players in that series, depending on if you think, he's better than Kevin Durant or Tatum or Jaylen Brown. But at the end of the day, he's one of the top players in that series, and no amount of heckling is going to ever take that away from him. And I just like to see that. I like the real super competitive nature of sports. And as long as nobody's physically violating anybody, nobody's making it extra personal, if it's just about the sport, if it's about the game in that moment, I'm all for it, man. But, some people just don't see it that way. So, you let me know. What do you think? Do you think Kyrie Irving was out of line? Do you think the fans need to be held more accountable for what they say? Or do you just like it the same way I do, man? Let me know, and we'll get back at it. Sports and Discourse, Derek Stevenson.